Chiefs GM Brett Veach does it again. Coming up on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, we are going to break down how Brett Veach assembled this roster to get to where we're at right here. Super Bowl 59. Yes, we are live from New Orleans all this week. More on that coming up in just a bit. And what an exciting week here, folks, on the channel, as we're going to be bringing you some awesome content over the next several days with some exclusive interviews. We're going to have coverage of all the press conferences and try to enjoy ourselves over the next few days here in New Orleans. Chiefs fans, you got to subscribe to the Kansas City Chiefs Report if you haven't already. I want to get to 68,500 subscribers before kickoff on Sunday. If you love the Kansas City Chiefs, you need to subscribe. Sub for Chiefs Dubs, youtube.com/ChiefsTV, and we'll get started with today's show. So how exactly did Brett Veach assemble this roster? A lot of attention is being focused on Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce, and rightfully so. But the architect of it all, Brett Veach, I personally don't think gets enough credit. He's the best GM in football. It's not Howie Roseman like the mainstream media would like you to think he is. Brett Veach has done this piece by piece in extreme detail, and I want to go over what exactly those details are that got the Chiefs to this point. Veach did a sit-down interview with the great Adam Teicher of ESPN this past week, and if you haven't got a chance to read the article, I highly encourage you to go check it out for yourself. And Veach made a big point that as they build this thing year by year, they are not trying to sell the farm for the future. Listen to this, what he told ESPN today. On one hand, there is a historical aspect of going for a three-peat, but we've operated as if we want to be seen in a similar scenario next year and compete for a championship. There's a point where, as an organization, it goes from being aggressive to being risky. We've done a good job of amping the aggressiveness to the edge, but not going over the edge. And one of the things that Veach really stresses that this team, the way that they need to make moves is by being cautiously aggressive. We've seen that when the Chiefs went through some adversity, when they lost guys like Isiah Pacheco and Rashee Rice and others, they did make moves, but they didn't necessarily go over the top in the moves they made. More from Veach. You can't go in with the mindset of being all in for 1 year. We want to find that delicate balance of being cautiously aggressive every year and going for it, but not at the expense of derailing the cap situation or wrecking our draft in future years. And based on the results that we've seen of the product that Brett Veach is putting on the football field for this Kansas City Chiefs team, his logic has been proven right. It's working. You're not a 15-2 team, the number one seed in the AFC and the AFC champions, again, going for your third straight Super Bowl, unless you're doing something right. We have every reason to believe in Brett Veach and trust his path and his plan going forward from here based on the results that we've seen this far. Clark Hunt, the Chiefs owner and chairman, also spoke in the same interview with ESPN, and he said this: we've tried to be thoughtful about making sure we're giving ourselves the best chance to win this year by also putting ourselves in a position where we can win next year and the year after that. We want to put the best team we can on the field every year. Bottom line, this is not just a one-year scenario for the Kansas City Chiefs. What they have put the work into doing over the last few years and also laying down the foundation for the next several years is about getting back here again and again and again, putting themselves in the best position forward. And that's not always going to make life easy on the decisions that they make, but it's going to prove worthwhile for a long time. They are who they are because of every single year, because of the work they're putting in, year out. This is not an overnight thing. This is a success that they've earned time after time. Do you believe in the long-term plan from Brett Veach of what he's done so far and where he has this organization going from here? It's our pin comment today. Weigh in, let us know. Type B for believe, D for don't. Chime in the comment section below. So, how exactly did Brett Veach do it? Well, it all starts with the franchise quarterback, the most talented QB to ever play the game, Patrick Mahomes. and the historic contract that the Chiefs gave him. If you recall, many years ago, Brett Veach was able to put together a 10-year, $450 million deal for Patrick Mahomes. And at the time, that seemed like a lot of money. It was a big commitment for Patrick Mahomes. But now we've seen it's the best bargain in the entire National Football League. And you think about this. Of the 11 quarterbacks with a larger average per year salary than Mahomes, not a single one has won a Super Bowl. 3 of them have been to a Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow. And look what the Chiefs are getting. All right, it's kind of the modern-day version of what Tom Brady was getting contract-wise with the New England Patriots. Brett Veach was ahead of his time getting on this. Mahomes, speaking in this same article with ESPN, he said this: the philosophy was win every year, and we've done a good job of that. They're going to do what they feel like is the value of the guy we're trying to get. They're going to try and maybe overspend a little bit, but they're not going to go crazy when you're going to be hurting future seasons. I want to be able to win it every year I'm here. Personally, I think Mahomes and Veach both deserve a ton of credit for this deal, that Mahomes was willing to take essentially less money than he could have made had he signed a shorter contract, and for Veach to get the deal done that was ahead of their time and giving them this chance every single year to be in this position here. And it's unlike anything we've seen. No one else is doing these type of deals either. I think that credit where credit's due to both sides, to be able to have the same interest in mind, to be in lockstep to get this type of thing done. And it's set up the Chiefs so well for success for a number of years now. How would you grade that Patrick Mahomes contract now? I mean, it's got to be an A+ in my book. What do you guys think looking back on that deal? A, B, C, D, or F? Give your grades in the comments section. Let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, Game Time has got you covered. Maybe you're still looking to get down here to New Orleans and get tickets to the big game, and maybe you want to be like me with the memories I made with my dad taking him to an NFL playoff game. You can make a lifetime worth of memories by getting tickets to this game or other events in Kansas City. Whether it's sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, Game Time's got you covered. You choose the event you want to go to. They got the prices listed. You choose your seat, see if you like that seat or not. And then just like that, you're checking out on Game Time with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. They have their super deals. If you see a super deal, that's a deal you don't want to pass up on. They have their customize your spot feature, and they have their seat views where you get the visual and get the best seat for you. The lowest price is guaranteed with Game Time, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code ChatSports, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Game Time, proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Number 2, on how Veach did it. They built this thing through the draft. They have not taken shortcuts and tried to spend big on free agency or do over-the-top trades that cost them a number of draft picks. This has been through the draft. And think about this, just to kind of put this in perspective of how successful these draft classes have been as of late. Every Chiefs player that's on the roster currently that was drafted in 2022 or later hasn't lost a single playoff game. It is unbelievable that all they know is winning. All they know this time of year is winning in the postseason. And look at the talent we're talking about in this stretch. 2022, you had guys like McDuffie, Karlaftis. We'll try to forget Sky Moore. Cook, Chanel, Joshua Williams. Look at the end of that draft. Jalen Watson, Pacheco, and Najee Johnson. Just unbelievable, the guys that were in that 22 class. But that's not all, folks. You go to 2023. King Felix, we'd like to see some more of. I miss Rashee Rice, but He was looking like a top 10 receiver early this year before he got hurt. Jamari Connor's been solid. Wanya Morris has been a okay backup offensive tackle, but, he was a third-round pick. And then you had other guys in the 2023 class. B.J. Thompson, Nick Jones, Coburn, among others. And then we go to 2024. And you've had some things that were unlucky. Xavier Worthy got to start a little slow, but he's been fantastic in the second half of the year. Kingsley, they're kind of taking a redshirt year on him after he started the year and didn't play so hot. Jared Wiley's been banged up. Jaden Hicks has been solid. And then you had a couple late-round guys that hopefully we see potentially get more of a chance next year and break out. Obviously, Hayden's gone now, but you get the idea. And here's another thing I'll bring up. This team, the way they've built this thing, through the draft, of course, but what's even more impressive, they've built this thing at the end of rounds of the draft. They're not picking number 1, number 2, number 3, number 5 overall. They're not even picking 15th or 20th. They are picking 31, 32 based on the year. And yet here they are still finding all this talent and taking advantage of these rookie contracts. It is unbelievable. Who is your favorite recent Chiefs draft pick? No wrong answers here. I just want to hear from you guys. Who comes to mind of your favorite players that have joined the Kansas City Chiefs in recent memory? Give me a name in the comments section. Let's talk Chris Jones now. If you recall, prior to that Lions game, that opener last year, it was a bit of a headache trying to get a deal done with Chris Jones and trying to keep him in Kansas City. And, they worked out a short-term deal, and then he ended up signing a long-term deal shortly after winning the Super Bowl last year, 5 years, $158.75 million. And a lot of people thought Chris Jones was going to be gone. A lot of folks had written off Chris Jones' time in Kansas City, that there wasn't going to be a way to get this done. But where there's a Veach, there's a way. Chris Jones saying this of why he wanted to stay in Kansas City, telling ESPN, chasing history is all part of it. When a lot of players retire, they always say they want to leave the game better than when they started. If we can get this three-peat and just continue adding to the legacy of the Kansas City Chiefs, I think that would be a huge accomplishment, not only for us, but for the NFL. Chris Jones is a cornerstone piece of this franchise. I make a point, and you may notice this on this show, when we talk about this era of Chiefs football, I make a point of saying this is the Mahomes, Kelsey, Reid, Jones era. It's those four individuals that have been here, that have withstood the test of time. It's Chris Jones that's led that defense. And I understand he hasn't always come through playoff time, but he's made his teammates better. And he's come through when he's needed to and been such a valuable piece. And we've seen what this team has looked like in a small sample size without him. It's a significant difference. And now that Aaron Donald's gone, you could argue that he's maybe the best at his position in the NFL. He's that good. And when you got a quarterback and an offense that good, to have a piece like that with Spags calling the plays on the defensive side, to have a guy of that caliber like Chris Jones, that matters. And that's going to keep that Chiefs defense good for a very long time, having Chris Jones locked up. That was a huge accomplishment by Veach. Do you think Chris Jones is going to have a big game in Super Bowl 59 this Sunday? What do you guys think? Type Y for yes, in for no, chime in. Tell us if you think this is going to be a big game for Chris Jones or not. Last on the list of how Brett Veach did it, how they got back here to Super Bowl 59. What we've seen from this Chiefs organization is smart and inexpensive additions. All right? We all go grocery shopping from time to time. And I don't know about you, but when I go to the grocery store, I'm always trying to find the cheap bargains. You know, I don't want to be spending over the top. I'm a big Bluebell ice cream fan. I'm not paying $9-10 for Bluebell ice cream. You know, I got to find the $5 or $6 ice cream. Brett Veach is a bargain shopper. Like, he knows how to find the deals. He is an extreme coupon man. And that's what he's been able to do with these players that he's brought in, with the notable roster moves we saw from this group here in 2024. Hollywood Brown, although we didn't see him to the end of the regular season, It's been nice to have him, and I think he very well could have a big game in the Super Bowl. How about Matt Araiza? The Bills did him dirty. Now you got maybe the best punter in football for next to nothing. Kareem Hunt. This team didn't know what the hell they were going to do at the running back position after Isiah Pacheco went down. Bring Kareem Hunt back, give him a second chance, and we saw the running game come back to life of sorts when he was added to the bunch, and he's been solid for this team. They've gotten what they've paid for. DeAndre Hopkins, he's had a few moments. Hasn't played great all the time, but still was worthwhile, that trade. Josh Uche, you didn't give up too much, so it wasn't a big deal that necessarily didn't get a huge return on investment. But nonetheless, you didn't spend too much, whether it was actual money or capital, to pull off these type of moves. Veach telling ESPN this, looking ahead to the future. We're not going to have a lot of money in free agency. Our free agency next year is going to be our draft. So it's hard to move on from those better picks, especially for a one-year rental. So with that all being said, we've showed you how Brett Veach and company got to this point. And as we head into 2025 and 2026 and beyond, the Chiefs are not deviating from the plan. They are still going to build from the draft. They're not going to spend a ton in free agency. It's worked this far, and we have every reason to believe that it's going to continue to work from here on out. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. We'll have more coverage all week long from right here in New Orleans from Radio Row. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.